Salutations, bronies! Persian Poetess here, and today I'm going to examine a topic that has piqued my interest as of late. Do any of you recall the mentions of modern weaponry in Equestria? Think about it. Rainbow Dash once exclaimed that she wanted a pet as fast as a bullet to keep up with her. Pinkie Pie always loves an opportunity to bust out her party cannon, and the Canterlot guards always keep a trusty spear at their side. With so much magical energy existing in Equestria, however, do weapons really serve a purpose? In this video, I will cover which weapons are most likely to exist in MLP, how the races could utilize each, and whether I think the weapons themselves are actually practical. As I mentioned earlier, spears seem to be the go-to choice for Equestria's military. Spears can be easily wielded by all the races in both resting and non-resting positions. Earth ponies and Pegasi can attach them via flank mount while advancing forward. Charging an enemy with a spear would be risky for a pony, however, and even a heavily armored opponent would have their neck open to an attack. Perhaps a better form of attack would be to chuck the spear and capitalize on the range. If fighting a unicorn opponent, the challenge would be significantly doubled. Their magical advantage can be countered by greater numbers though. The Persians, for instance, in the Battle of Thermopylae, eventually took out the Greek army after flanking them and letting their vast number of archers overwhelm their clever opponents. The next weapon that is probably utilized in Equestria are mallets. Apparently ponies are already accustomed to holding mallets in their mouths, considering that Equestria's upper crust enjoy a good game of croquet. Unfortunately, this opens up quite a can of worms in terms of the effectiveness of this weapon. Ever hear a boxing coach say to their fighter, "Cover your chin and keep your eyes up"? Due to the defending pony having to physically turn their head when wielding a mallet, their attacker could easily take advantage of their momentary blindness and offer up a nasty counter. Also, try to imagine the amount of strain a pony's neck and jaw would have throughout the course of a battle. Even if a pony switched to wielding a mallet with their hooves, I would still classify them as one of Equestria's poorest choice of weaponry. Well, we finally made it to the most controversial choice of the bunch, guns. Guns would most likely be easiest for unicorns and Pegasi to use, seeing as unicorns can rely on their trusty magic, and Pegasi have their articulated wingtips. Earth ponies aren't necessarily left out of the equation on this one. I mean, come on, I'm sure I'm not the only one who recalls the epic moment when Pinkie Pie used the Twilight Gatling gun and popped a magical cap into many a changeling behind. Things get trickier though when Earth ponies have to be mobile while wielding a gun. 3 solutions I've seen created by the fandom are saddle mounts, hoof wristlets, and guns that are actually welded into the pony's armor itself. Guns may fare better than spears in terms of range attacks, considering how speedy the discharge of a bullet could be. As I hinted at earlier, pony armor as depicted on the show leaves the neck quite exposed, meaning that a gunslinger could still take on a heavily armored pony if their aim was decent enough. While magical shields could indeed counter bullet fire, we've seen that they are prone to crack. Perhaps on the receiving end of a firing line or a high-powered cannon, a magical shield could eventually be blasted apart. The issue with guns, however, is the loading time. If high-powered magazines exist in Equestria, then I suppose guns would be somewhat on even footing with magic, but I still have to give the edge to the magic user. After examining these examples of weaponry, it is clear that weapons in Equestria are simply substandard and can't hold a candle to the effectiveness of magic. Even though there were certain instances in which I mentioned they could win a battle, they certainly would not be powerful enough to win a war. What do you folks think? Is there a weapon that could trump equestrian magic? Let me know in the comments below, or feel free to share other weapons you believe could exist in Equestria. Oh, and if you say the sonic rain boom is proof of nukes, that's such a cheap